Welcome to another edition of 4D Def's Daily Dose of Dota. I'm your host, Michael Deficus Plumley, and today is episode 10. I've done so many of these, I can't count them on my fingers anymore. And the number that I've edited improperly are about that many. But that's okay, because today's another episode, and today is a great one. We're doing one of my favorite heroes that got buffed in the recent 6.82 patch. It's Ogre Magi, and today I've selected a game from iG versus, I don't even know who, LaiGaming. They're pretty new on the scene for me. But it was a game featuring ch.isbug's from Invictus Gaming's Ogre Magi against LaiGaming. And as we hop into the 3-player cam mode, we're going to bring up, well, we're going to do this properly. There we go. I wanted to show you a breakdown of Ogre Magi that is something really important to understand. And looking over here at the spell breakdown, you see a sizable portion, along with the damage breakdown, about 34.5% physical damage. He hits pretty well. He's an intelligence hero, is his primary stat, with a pretty good intelligence gain. I think it's 2.2. We can go over to his page that I already have it open. 2.4, even higher. So he's going to hit pretty hard as the levels increase, but what everybody really seems to be focusing on, and as part of his resurgence in this last patch, is his multicast. And looking at his spell breakdown here, you'll see that a Fire Blast doesn't hit very hard. A Fire Blast only hits for 180 damage, I think, once you factor in spell resistance, 240 gross damage. Ignite ticks for about 400 damage at max rank, so 300 damage, but the vast majority of his burst damage, 37%, is from that multicast. It's turning 180 damage into potentially 360 and then potentially 720. Once you get the ult stick, you'll have another ability that does the same effect. What I wanted to focus today is, well, just looking at some of the wonderful RNG that comes with Ogre Magi, to where you can just walk up and go and get that 3x or 4x proc. But also some of the itemization ideas coming out from the pros. I've played Ogre Magi a lot over the last week, probably 20 games or so, and I love experimenting with the different builds on the heroes. The ult stick seems pretty straightforward. If anybody's played him before, you'll know that you can't drop the ult stick after you pick it up, and it does give you an entirely extra ability, Unrefined Fire Blast, which is essentially just another Fire Blast. One of the interesting mechanics is it's not a set amount of mana. I think it's 30% of your mana or something. So you'll always have mana to use it, is one of the benefits, but never start out the fight with it, because it drains your mana very quickly. But iG.Chisbug is not going to go ult stick in this game. He's going to go a build that I've been working on, which is Eul Scepter, Cyclone Stick, whatever you want to call it. It provides what I feel is 2.5 seconds of immunity, but also just extending the fight duration that can help you get that extra Fire Blast off, that extra Bloodlust to keep up and catch up with someone, or, if you have the ult stick, an extra Unrefined Fire Blast. Going over to his information page, we'll see something very important, although I just want to show you, Fire Blast is a 12-second cooldown, as I'm highlighting here, with his with the ultimate maxed out, 6-second reduction, so it cuts the time by 50%. And I just wanted to show the difference in something. I just have a matchup here, Ogre Magi versus Beastmaster in Def Score, my econometric model that I've designed for Dota. But you can see up here that your average fight duration with Ogre Magi might only last 6 seconds. You walk up, you can do one stun, or however he does it, maybe he does it with both hands. You can do one stun, you can do an ignite, which will slow the target for a few seconds by 20 to 28%. But other than that, you don't really have a lot of lockdown. However, if you could just add in another item, for instance a Blink Dagger, and you can get that fight into the 7-second to 9-second range, you'll be able to use another Fire Blast. And that's another opportunity to get a multicast. That's another opportunity to get a 4x multicast. I've been very tempted to do some of the Ogre Magi quotes today, because I love his responses too, but the responses are pretty dumb, and that's why he's great. But just hopping into here, you can see that if you add in maybe 2 seconds of fight time, or 3 more seconds with Scythe of Ice would be a good option to choose. If you can start getting the fights into that 12-second range, you can get upwards of 3 Fire Blasts in. And then that's when you can really start getting that extra RNG damage and the potential to just blow someone up, which is my favorite part of playing the character. We're going to hop into the game now and look at the draft as you guys can see it already on the screen and see how this game plays out. I always like to start here right before the last picks just to look at the compositions of the teams.
Team pick.
And we see that it's going to be Invictus Gaming against LaiGaming, as already mentioned. Invictus Gaming, the Ogre Magi, is going to be played by /Chisbug. He is CH. And just looking at the composition of LaiGaming, they have 2 agility heroes, 2 intelligence heroes. Love the Rubik pick. And there's your strength hero. Excellent tank hero, has a good AoE stun, and 450 damage, if you've ever played Ancient Apparition, is about half his health at all levels. Likewise, Invictus Gaming will finish the match with another agility hero. Phantom Assassin's going to be their carry here, matching up against the Spectre. Not a coincidence that those were both picked around the 4th pick, whereas we see more of these support and mid lane roles being picked out in the first couple picks. They didn't want to tip their hand, but this should be an interesting game. I look at Ogre Magi's ability with the burst damage against potentially a Rubik, will be the squishiest target on the team. But other than that, Viper has high armor because of his primary attribute as agility, but not so much HP. Visage does have the Gravekeeper's Cloak, which will give him extra armor and magic resistance, but if that can get worn down in a fight, potential RNG is possible. As we hop into the game, it's going to be LaiGaming against Invictus Gaming. Interesting Ferret, Navi's Weasel Crow, love that. iG.Chuan, good for him. Always love seeing different kinds of couriers. But this game will all be about /Chisbug, or CH as he's called in this game. Ogre Magi walking out to the off lane, or he could just be going to contest that 0-minute rune. Chuan will be playing on the Ancient Apparition. Luo on the Weaver. Your carry will be a mid lane Ferrari, 430. Poor Man's Shield, 2 pull tangos, please, as that Russian guy that I always seem to get in games asks. We're going to have lag in this game, but that's okay. This is a replay, so we can just fast forward.
30 seconds
Beautiful.
to battle.
I do think at some point in this game there's like a 10-minute pause that even seemed long as I was fast forwarding it. Just want to note that they're on the high ground here. 15 seconds until the runes spawn. Likewise for the top rune. June is ready to contest that rune. Top. With Lai's XTT conceding it. But Rubik, Viper, and Visage is walking away now. It will be a haste rune. Perhaps going to the Ogre Magi. Weaver might be a better pick. Ancient Apparition, not real sure that is the best pick for that. He has the lowest base damage out of anyone, but they're not anticipating a level 1 kill just off of a rune. And as we see the lanes push out, it's going to be Spectre against Phantom Assassin in mid. The off lane Tidehunter will be faced up against a Centaur. And it's going to be tri-lane against tri-lane. I always like to try and pair Ogre Magi with a second stun, but it looks like he will be the main stun coming out for his team. Cold Feet is a potential stun, but with 4 seconds to run out of the vicinity, usually a 1.5 second Fire Blast will not be enough to ensure the back-to-back stun. Likewise, the tri-lane for LaiGaming has 1 stun if you want to call Telekinesis that. I like it more just because you're able to drag someone back closer into range, extend that fight just by an extra second or 2 that it requires them to run out. And we see Ogre Magi immediately going to contest the lane pull that was already warded, but he did see Visage missing, so he figured he had rotated over that way. That should actually spot that out, but he doesn't have vision. I do love this spot right here. The shrubbery blocks, should be this camp, or blocks this camp at least. I think you can have it block this camp as well. But the tri-lane, just jostling around. We're going to look at the last hits denies in the beginning. Looks like level 1 Ignite. Interesting approach. 125 damage before magic resistance. So that's a little bit more than the 60 damage from Fire Blast. It is more mana though. 10 or 20 more mana depending on the rank. Might be looking just to whittle down the number of tangos that Viper has. But other than that, he's using his 7 armor, which is outrageous for this level, to just try and contest level 2. Visage. Oh, we'll get the call on that squishy Ancient Apparition and secure First Blood. They're hoping to get a reply on Viper here. Good job, Ogre Magi, clubbing him down. But it was a 2-for-1, not the best trade. Just looking at the fight recap here, we saw about 400 damage. Very even for Weaver and Ogre Magi early on. But that Visage, with the 2 Soul Assumption, really dealing out the vast majority of the damage there. On an Ancient Apparition that only has 550 HP and 2 armor. That's 12% physical resistance. Viper, with the Ring of Protection, has 26%. Rubik, very squishy at 8%. And then you go to Ogre Magi, 30%. So even if he's in melee, I love to practice on him with the last hitting, just getting in lane, harassing what would be the Viper in this game, though they've already pushed it back to the tower. Visage pulling lane here, having dewarded that ward right there. And they're looking to contest. But the tri-lane meets the tri-lane and walks over. The lift onto Weaver and a fair amount of damage going out. The Fire Blast having to be used defensively there.
Is under attack.
Weaver is quite low at this point.
I'm in your debt.
Ogre Magi will ideally be the last person that LaiGaming wants to focus here. 720 HP, in addition to the armor, in addition to a much higher HP regen. I think he's 3.5 per second, whereas most heroes are just half HP regen, or even 1 HP regen per second. But Visage, having dewarded, is going to just continue pulling here. He wants to spread out this XP. As we see Ogre Magi rotating up the top, he sees that this tri-lane is not going too great. Chuan has rotated up here as well. He's going to leave Weaver now that he has a couple levels to effectively offlane. He's going to be getting most of the farm in this game in addition to the PA. Rotation from ch1sbug. Do they see him? Not yet, but with a little bit of communication, XTTs, teammates might have already sounded the alarm. Nice timing for the Tranquil Boots on Centaur. Very key to help regen some of the damage that is definitely going to be dealt out to himself with Double Edge. And we see Ogre Magi just waiting in the wings. It's nighttime. There's not a lot of vision here. He wishes he'll go up just a little further, with Chuan waiting as well. Will he take the bait? 2 points in Kraken Shell, 3 points in Anchor Smash. He's not the easiest target to take out. Also, 853 HP, which is even more than Ogre Magi, though he is a couple levels ahead. So instead, Ogre Magi running away. It's the 5-minute, 40-second mark. He could stack for someone. He could pull lane. He could contest this rune in 10 seconds, presumably after he stacks the camp. Or he might just go directly to the rune. With the introduction of these bounty runes, if he gets that, looks like a haste rune instead. He'll leave that for his Phantom Assassin, carry, who already does have the bottle, and he'll just rotate mid, seeing who he can help, seeing if he can just use his stun, now rank 2, 120 damage, with the addition of the Ignite, to try and burst someone down. He'll rotate bottom. He sees that there's a lot of damage coming out onto Weaver, The tri-lane is sticking around and is already pushing up on the tower.
Selfish.
The bounty rune is claimed, and he's taking a very aggressive stance here. Can they see him? 3 people forced up on the tower as Weaver wants to go. There's a rotation help, and they will secure their first kill on the Visage. Gravekeeper's Cloak is a very tanky ability, but you'll notice he doesn't even have it this early on. Choosing the DPS abilities instead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
As we see Ferrari rotating bottom to turn what is a 1-for-1 into a 3-for-1. And this is a pause from the Rubik. I think this is a really long pause, if I remember correctly. We're going to speed it up to 8x. And just look at what Ogre Magi has on him. You'll see he's almost level 4 with those couple assists. 2 kills, actually. He's up to 700 gold. But he'll be pooling it for now, possibly getting mana boots. He's more concerned about his Smoke of Deceit and just rotating, helping his allies early on. Using his, what should be, well, Centaur has a stun as well, but with melee range it's a little difficult to land. As we see, he is in a lot of trouble top lane. So he's just going to be focusing on rotating, trying to get more done. Trying to initiate fights exactly like we just saw. Although the Rubik might have died because of a disconnect. Or lag, or something of the sort. I think he connects here in the next 15 seconds or so, and the game goes on, mostly unabated for the rest of its duration. We do see quite a big rotation coming out here for IG. Ferrari is now online, in the bottom. Chisbug has rotated down here, and Ancient Apparition rotated as well, although he quickly fell. He might have actually fallen top. That was a double kill coming out on our Centaur. Desolate just does a lot of damage. I mean, just looking at that. I think it's 35 extra pure damage per hit, which could be more damage than he would do. 60 damage once you factor in resistance, but you're going to be getting an extra 35 that doesn't get negated at all. That delicious, delicious pure damage. Might be foreshadowing towards Spectre's effectiveness this game, but I may have picked this game, on the other hand, because I love Phantom Assassin and seeing those beautiful 4.5x crits. We still see Ogre Magi lying in wait, probably talking to himself. Ogre Magi jokes. Ferrari jumping in on Spectre as he rotates to the rune. He does secure it, though. And with the help of his Spectral Dagger, we'll get away. You get a little extra room here to walk up to the cliff.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
As we see both Weaver and Ogre Magi just sitting to try and protect this bounty rune for Phantom Assassin. Her bottle's empty. She desperately needs those bottle charges early on to continue laning against someone like Spectre, who's going to be doing bonus damage against you. Speaking of that smoke I talked about, we see Ancient Apparition and Ogre Magi smoked up. They would love to secure a kill on Spectre, the one position carry, or more importantly, help Phantom Assassin get some early money as their one position. So they just lie in wait, looking for an opportunity. We're going to switch to LaiGaming's view here. They're lying just out of range. The smoke is expiring in 10 seconds, but it seems that Spectre has caught on to the jig. A loop around would have been very interesting here, and she ultimates and is confirmed her suspicions. Two people lying in wait as Ferrari ports top to help his Centaur who has just died. Spectre ulting to secure that kill and will get away. And in the end, Ferrari will fall herself. Or himself.
Gone out.
Ogre Magi has walked up here to rotate, and he's a little in no man's land. Chuan very low in terms of total HP early in the game. 600 on Ancient Apparition, whereas already over 1,000 for Tidehunter, 900 for Viper. Very squishy support. We see Ogre Magi has about 30% more HP. But also worth noting is a lot of his durability is in the armor, and it is in the HP regen, which isn't even showed on the stats here. So our Ogre Magi running back away. The 10-minute rune is up. Looks like it's already been secured by Spectre. He's out of position for the top one. And he seems at a bit of a loss of where to go here.
Radiant's bottom tower
He will
is
presumably
under attack.
rotate into the mid lane. He knows Lul is actually having a pretty good time farming bottom. Rubik is alone here. Tidehunter has had a great time top lane. And it will be an Urn of Shadows that he was waiting to come in off the courier. As we see him just waiting on the high ground here, hoping that Spectre or someone will push up so he can rotate and start using his burst damage to its fullest potential. He's also almost level 6, and that's where the fun for Ogre Magi really kicks in. Sure, the 1.5 second stun is great, even at level 1, but with the 2x possibility, 40% chance, once you hit level 6, potential to do double damage is really worth waiting in a situation like we see here. He's almost level 6, he has a smoke, but presumably they'll want to try and get a kill just as he's hitting level 6. And Visage might be the target. We see them looping around. There it is. They're moving in. Excellent combo. Helps get Ogre Magi his level 6. Ancient Apparition was already level 6. The Ice Blast being very instrumental there. We see our carry did 462 damage, but the Ice Blast helped to do 270 with the assistance of an Ice Vortex. 182 is mostly from the Fire Blast. 1 or 2 Ignite ticks. But Chizbug, he's level 6 now. And this is where the real fun begins. You start to get a little bit of AoE ability on Ignite. Excellent for farming out creep waves, and you get that wonderful, delicious RNG from Fire Blast. As it looks like IG are looking to push the mid lane. Great coordination from our two supports here, just roaming together. If it was just an Ogre Magi or just the Ancient Apparition, not much would get done. But together, they can do a lot. And if nothing else, drop wards, drop observers, drop sentries, gain vision. It looks like they'll be rotating now to help out their off lane, but this might get spotted out by this ward here. And we see Spectre playing very defensively as a result, just instantly goes into the forest. Rubik now joins him. You saw the port in. They might be looking to get a little more done, and even Tidehunter walking out to lane. He's level 10 already. Almost ready for that rank 2 ultimate. He has his Blink Dagger. Casual Ring of Regen. Might start building mech on the team. This ward granting valuable vision. They see that there has been a rotation from LaiGaming. And the two supports for IG continue looking for pickoffs. I want to go over to the hero level. You see that the limited number of pickoffs has cost them a fair amount. They're both still level 6, but looking at the two supports for LaiGaming, much of the same. Their level's not as important as if they're able to get a kill or two on the carry of the other team, or if they're able to assist their own position 1 Phantom Assassin in gearing up and getting carry, gold, and items for himself. So instead, they'll be patient, they'll wait it out. Little do they know, under an observer ward, they'll continue just looking for a potential pickoff, and then they might be moving towards the Spectre. The stun goes out into an Ignite. The Ice Blast barely misses with the assistance of a Stampede. And that courier got there just in time with the teleportation scroll.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Instead, there's a rotation mid. Visage Familiars, and a Siege Creep are quickly doing damage to this tower. And I would love to see a rotation from Chizbug, but they may choose instead to claim this bottom tower.
Has fallen.
the mid tower does
Radiant
fall.
structures are fortified.
There is a fortification on bot, but no one's coming. And this tower will fall as well.
Radiant's
A
bottom
1-for-1
tower
trade.
has fallen.
As we see IG have no vision of this smoke gank that is rotating bottom. A large group, including familiars, hoping to secure a kill. Weaver may have sensed it. Rubik would love to get that telekinesis off on someone, bringing him back to the team. But it looks like Luo is a little too keen on that. Centaur here as well. And they will rotate away. Smoke gank expiring. Tidehunters here. And Luo may run into everything from the team of LaiGaming. 2 heroes mid. Visage here as well. Instead, he'll just pick off one of the 2 familiars. Get some precious gold for himself. He's won a vitality booster first. Interesting build. As we hear that Stampede come out to secure a kill on Visage. That is a killing spree on Chuan. The gold has helped him secure arcane boots at a pretty respectable pace. Back to Luo in the bottom lane as we see him pushing out of the tier 2 tower. This will be interesting progression to see from him. He may just be looking for some more survivability, especially going up against a carry like Spectre. Already up to 1200 gold. It's the 16-minute mark. And with that, we're going to take a break. With that signifying what I feel is the end of the early game. Or the laning phase, whatever you want to call it. We're going to take a relaxing music break and return with the start of the mid-game. We're seeing our Ogre Magi start to come online. All our heroes are above level 6 now. The ultimates are coming out. The builds are beginning to develop. Spectre has 1300 gold. We'll probably see potentially a Radiance from him. Phantom Assassin's itemization will be curious as well. And what Weaver will end up doing with that Vitality booster. Stay tuned after this.